Hello and welcome to the Farina restoration training. Basically, once you come to the website, just click next to Farina / and just type in log in. Then you'll come to this place and you just put in your username and password and click on login. Once you come to this section, just click on visit site. And that was your back end, and we'll look at that in a little while. But you'll notice now you have a new bar up the top here. This now means that you are in the editing mode, and nobody can see what you're doing. They will just see what we saw at the beginning, but now that you're logged in, it's all become editing. Now, this first part, I just want to show you how you can edit a page. So by clicking on Enable Visual Editor, this actually logs you into the theme that's running this page. And I've sent you a whole bunch of videos on the Divi theme, but I'm just doing a very simple one for you. And so as you can see now, it says exit, which means we are now logged in to the Divi theme for the front end. And we can actually go and change anything we want here. So if we wanted to change that word, we could change it to UUNTIN, and that would be fine. We would then go down to these three dots, hit the save, and then that will become part of the website. However, we don't want to do that, so we'll just change it back. So basically, anything you want to change in the text, if you want to change, say, this link here, it's just a matter of highlighting any text and clicking on the link. And you can see the link is here already. If you wanted to create a new link for, say, Unan Data, it's just a matter of highlighting it, clicking on the link, then pasting in here the URL that you want the page to go to. Now you have your standard editing tools here, the bold, the italics, the underline. You can center text, so if we wanted to center all that, or just the welcome, we could center it and choose the center. This is for quotes. We don't use quotes a lot. This is for the size. So if we, as you can see, that's a H3. So if we wanted it to be bigger and become a H2 or a H1, we can just click those. However, most of the subheadings, we've made a H3. And these headings here, I think, were a H2, yep. So if it's a main heading, we make it a H2. If it's just a subheading, we make it a H3. Now each of these are what we call modules. And by clicking on the settings bar, that will bring up the module information. Now you probably need to look at the more detailed tutorial modules in Divi, but basically it just brings up the back end of how you would normally manage a WordPress site, but you could do it all on the front page. So again, you can do all the things that you could do before with that smaller editor. However, this gives you a little bit more range. You also have all these design functions in here, so you can actually get in there and center the text, do all sorts of things, change the color, the style, etc. However, I would suggest that in most cases you would leave that side alone and just add some content. So these are photos. Again, you can add photos. This is just buttons. So when you go here, it's a button text. So I'll just show you quickly how we create them. And so let's say here we wanted to add a new row, and then we can choose how we want it. Do we want it to be full length? As you can see with the photos, it's 4s, you might want 2s, you might want 1s and 3s, whichever way you go. But just let's do this one to start with. And then you get a chance to choose the different types of modules. So if you wanted to add an audio, a video is down the bottom here, text, they're probably the 3 main ones we use. Video, text, and audio or video. But you can try each of those out later on. So we can close that. We also can add things here from the library. So we had a newsletter sign-up sheet, an index page, etc. And so you can actually save these modules and use them over and over again. If we don't want this module, we just click on the ashcan and it deletes it. Now, as you can see here, when you click over different parts of the module, you can see that it has this blue area, which is spacing. So we probably like to make the spacing a bit smaller. And so as you can see, just by clicking and dragging up, I've reduced the spacing there. Now to save all this, I want to click on the save. And there it is, I've saved it. So you can edit all this sort of information, the text, the links, the photos, etc. I didn't do the photos for you, so here's the photos. If we click on the photos here, this is the setting for the photos. We can actually go and add more photos to it if we wanted to. So we just click on the plus, it'll go to the standard WordPress to add photos. You can then upload photos. You can also upload these photos. And I'm going to do a little bit on the photos in a second. And so that's how you would add photos. Okay, so let's go into the back end. Now, as I said, the back end sort of works similar. However, it's all been broken up into modules that you can't see. You have to click on to actually edit. So here it is. This is the top image. This is the text. So let's just open another tab. So this is that top image. This header is done in the programming, but you can change this top image. This is the text. So here we have this text here. And then you can see we have some more text, and I actually put the image in one of these. And then we have the buttons. So we have the text, where I just inserted this. I didn't use an image frame. I just used the text frame and copied the image into the text frame because it was a few little images. But normally you would have an image, then this is the text. Now you can see the buttons. So here are the buttons. And you can add or remove these from this area or from the front page. The accordion, which is under the buttons then. And how the accordions work is if you click on this, they just move through. And then on the bottom we had the gallery, which are the pictures. And so all these things are what we call modules. So you build your page using various modules because then it makes it easier to edit later on. And as I was showing you with the spacing, each module has its own spacing, so you can control it on the front page. Now you might wonder when you're looking at it about Farina. You'll notice I've put a whole bunch of other pages under that heading, and how I do that is in what we call Appearance and Menus. So once you create your page, we'll just dismiss this. Once you create your page, it will come up here on the left. So if we view all, you can see contact, all the different pages. So if we type in there, we can actually search for about. We actually changed it to where is Farina. So if we look at the page by clicking on the dot, you can see the actual name of the page was where is Farina, but we were running out of room, so we changed it to about, and then we put all these extra things underneath it, so you can drag these around. So as you can see, Farina is the top one, and then these are all listed underneath. We could move that so it wasn't a separate page, or we can move it one across. So if we now go look at here about Farina sponsors, you can see it created a little arrow, so now we've got a subheading as well, and we've done that with all of them. So these ones have quite a few subheadings as per the menu that was on the left before. So that's how we get the pages onto the page. We create it, we add the content, then we come to this part called menus, and we add it into the section we want to. So these then just can be moved up and down and around, etc. So that's menus. So basically now you've got all your structure, your editing, your menus. The only thing now is to look at the different ways you can create posts and pages. So we have two different sections in WordPress. We have what we call posts and pages. So pages are these static pages here, and posts come under newsletters because they're actually what we call the blog of the site. And so these are called posts. They work pretty well the same way as a page. However, they are dynamic in that when you add a new post, it will push the old post down one. So if I added a new post now, number 70 AGM, would go down one and we'd have a new post on the top. So let's just create a new post, and you can do this. So we'll just go new, and we'll leave that because we didn't want to save it. Always make sure when you do anything and you make any changes or add new things that you save it. So let's just call this a test. Now you can choose to use the Divi Builder in this, or if you're just going to add some text, etc., you can just type away in here and it will just do exactly the same thing. The reason we use the Divi Builder is it has all those extra functions like being able to add photos, etc., a lot easier than having to use media, etc., etc. So it just makes doing a post easier. So I'm just going to copy something quickly. Let's just copy this. When you're creating a post, never copy and paste out of a Word document. always try and copy and paste out of Notepad. So we'll just open a Notepad, go new, copy and paste that in. You'll notice we lose some of the formatting, but then we will use the text to do the formatting. So here was Arena Strenta. We want to do that. We wanted to do apologies and make it bold. We had minutes bold. We might want to do this as a heading 2. And so that's how we do our graphics, our text. And then this is exactly the same if you were doing a page. So if you're creating a new page, it would use exactly the same format. Except I would advise you to use the Divi Builder because I've already set up all the CSS and styles, etc. in it, so it keeps consistency. So to turn it into a Divi page, we now have the text. It's in here. I could now type it in if I wanted and do all exactly the same things. I could add a background to it, etc. I have all those design elements. So exactly the same as WordPress, but a lot easier to change and do small edits, etc. on the front page, which you can't do if you don't use the Divi Builder. Now, the last part I want to just show you is quickly with photos, because so many of the photos in the old website were really big, and probably 60 to 70% of your visitors are on mobiles. So having a 2 meg photo or something is just going to really get them pretty angry after a while because it's going to use up all their data. So if you have Photoshop, you should know how to reduce the size of photos. But if you don't have Photoshop, let me just show you this little program. It's called Pixlr. Pixlr.com. And we just go open the editor. Got it. If you have to load Flash, then simply go back and do it again. Okay, I'll just load Flash quickly, leave site, allow, reload. I've already got Flash, so I've done this before. We can close all the ads if you want. But now what we want to do is open an image from computer. And this will be an image that you've downloaded or got at some time. So let's go to, let's just pick a page and pick one of the images. So as you can see, this image is, oh, it's not too bad. That one's been fixed because I did that before. Let's see if I can get some of the older images. So here we are in images, and by hovering over them you can see that they're quite big. So here it is, the image is 424, half a meg. So that'll just slam a mobile phone. So let's open that in Pixlr. Now we want to change that image. Having it that big makes it harder to use. So normally we want between 800 and 1000. So let's make it a big one, 1000. And go OK. And now what we want to do is, so I've made it 1000. We're now going to save that image. Go save. And then it tells us how big it's going to be. So we don't need it at 80. We can do it at about 40. And now it's under 100 KB. So we're always aiming to get it down as small as we can. So that's 100 KB. If we made it, say, 80, remembering again, most people are looking at this on a mobile these days. So 800 is still quite a nice size file on a desktop. We'll make that 800. We'll go save again. Go down to 40. See, now I've got it down to 51 KB, which is even better. We'll just change. Also with the files, always try and change the name so it's something. So Baker. Making bread. Farina. And then we'll save that. And we'll save that into images and save. Now to add it to our website, we can now go insert module. We're just going to have one image, which is here. If we were doing gallery and importing a bunch of photos, we'd use the gallery, but we'll use the image. We'll upload the image, upload file, select the file. We called it bakery. Here it is here. It's a JPEG. It's uploaded. Now you see we've got this nice title here. Always copy and paste it into the alt text. This is for search engine optimization. And then we can choose here, do we want it centered? We don't want it linked, and we'll use full size. So now we'll set, and here it is, and then we can save and edit. We now publish this. It's publishing. Now I'll just right click on that and open link in a new tab, because now I can have a look and see what's happening. And as you can see, there's the photo. It's a good size. It looks okay. It's automatically, because it's a post, it's added the recent posts on the side, and you can see now it's got test. Now I put it in uncategorized, and I don't want to do that. So we will change it here and put it into newsletter, get rid of out of uncategorized. Usually we'd put some tags in here, bakery, farina, fresh bread, something like that. We can allow comments or not allow people to comment. So if you're finding that a post is getting a lot of stupid comments, just delete, untick comments, and then update. So if now I wanted to put something else in, I can either add to here, or I can go and add another row. So that separates it. So I might want to set up a row and have 2 photos in here this time. And I could always add another section, and here you have these choices here. So you can add one from the library that you've saved, specialty sections, etc. So let's just remove that. Let's update. Let's update our page. And so because we made this separate, we can now go into our visual editor. And we can start playing with the spacing, etc. if we want to add more, do any editing, etc. So there we are. We might want to move this up a bit. And because we made them separate modules, we can actually change the spacing of this as well. So we can move that closer to the bottom. And that all looks a lot better. If you bunch them all together, it's very hard to do the spacing. So that's why we set them up in separate modules, because then we can move them around a lot. So if we actually wanted to move this up here, we could move it up the top. And now we have the photo up the top and the text down the bottom. So these are all the different things you could do. Obviously, within doing this, there are hundreds of variations. What I like to do is I like to go to Divi. We can leave that now. And you can see all this information. So say you wanted to add a contact form on Divi. You just type in contact form Divi, and here it is here. You pretty well find a module for pretty well everything you want to do, and it will just walk you through exactly how to do a module. And now you know what these things are for. You'll understand a lot more on how to set it up, and it gives you a video as well on how to do it, plus all the texts, etc. So it makes it very simple. If you have any questions and you want a video on a specific thing that you think I can do for you, don't hesitate to give us a call. So it's just a real basic overview of how you can manage your website. And as I said, if you need more information or get stuck, just let me know. If you want me to do a post for you or a page, just send me the information. I'm more than happy to put it together for you. See you later.